Maisels Edelhopfen Extra.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. This is one from, believe it or not, Bavaria. Yes, I know, all my beer reviews, are, or certainly the German ones, are from Bavaria. It's where they do it best. And I am not going to pass up the opportunity to try a decent Bavarian, but it's a good point, and I'm just thinking maybe I should try some beers from other regions, but they're reasonably hard to, well, I wouldn't say reasonably hard to get hold of, but the Bavarian stuff is quite easy to get hold of. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's because it's the best selling stuff. Who knows? Anyway, I will make a point of that, actually, trying to get some beers from other regions of Germany, because, yeah, I've almost done every brewery in Bavaria, but I'm just thinking about it now. I haven't, because there's over 200 in Franconia alone, which is just insane. Anyway, but let's get back to this one. This is from the Maisels Brewery, which is in a place called Bayreuth, which is a region of Bavaria. If that name rings a bell, there is a brewery literally 100 metres away from this brewery, and it's the Bayreuth Brewery, or the Bayreuth Action Brewery. And I reviewed some of their land beer the other day. Really good, really impressed with that. And their Keller beer is excellent. Well, not the Keller beer, it's Zwickel beer, if that's how it's pronounced. I should learn how to fucking pronounce that word. But if you can see their Zwickel beer anywhere around, the Action one, it's in a brown bottle, get it, because it's really good. Very good example of that style. But this stuff is Edelhopfen, which translates to, from German, noble hops. So obviously this contains noble hops, as you would expect. Now this is a Pilsner, and it's not just any old style of Pilsner, it's what's known as a diet Pilsner. Do you remember that? I don't know if, well, I'm an old fucker, but I do remember the ads for Holsten Pils years ago. Now Holsten Pils, when it first came out back in the, certainly when I remember it, back in the 80s, early 80s, this would have been 1980, 1981, there used to be a TV ad that used to run, and it was called Holsten Diet Pils, and this is what this is called, a Diet Pils, which basically means it's got reduced carbohydrates in it. It's almost like the Michelob Light that I tried, you know, people who are watching their weight, etc. But I'm pretty sure, I don't know, but I'm almost certain this is going to taste better than that fucking Michelob abortion, because that was terrible stuff. But getting back to what I was saying, in the 80s, the ad campaign was run, and a fella in the ad, his name was Donald Pleasance. Now, I don't know whether you're well up on your 1970s and 60s English cinema, but he was the star of the James Bond film. He played Blofeld. He had the massive scar on his eye, bald head. But he also played the forger in the film The Great Escape. And he was doing them ads. I don't know whether it was brewed here or in, well, it would have been West Germany then. I don't know whether they actually imported it. Would they have? I don't know. Jury's out on that one. But they used to import Löwenbräu. So there's a fair chance that this stuff was actually imported from Germany. But it was known as a diet Pils, and they used to call it the odd lager. And they made a big thing about saying all the sugar turns to alcohol. And it's like, well, yeah, that's the fucking brewing process, mate. But it was like some kind of weird science that nobody else had done before. I mean, it's pure marketing bollocks. And no disrespect, but people weren't as well up as they are now. The internet wasn't around, obviously. So this gimmick that, oh yeah, all the sugar turns to alcohol, absolute fucking bollocks. It's what happens anyway in the brewing process. So don't fucking give it a big one. But that's what they did. In effect, it was true. They weren't lying, but they were just playing on it. But they did make a point about saying it was a diet Pils, and the sugar content was lower than normal beers. Now, reading on this one, it says this has got a reduced carbohydrate content, but they've said that the alcohol content has been dropped as well. But it's 4.8%, so it hasn't really. I mean, I've seen Helleses and lagers especially. Don't know about Pilsners, but lagers especially the Dortmunder export, and they've been 4.5%, 4.8%, 4.9% even. So I wouldn't say the alcohol's dropped that much. But this is a Pilsner, so being a Pilsner, especially one with noble hops that they're making a big thing out of, I'd expect it to be quite dry with a bitter finish, a bitter hoppy finish. If you can imagine the North German style Pilsners which have a dry finish to them, that's what I'd be expecting from this one. Now, I've tried a few good Bavarian Pilsners before, but for me, I think they do Pilsners better in North Germany. I don't know, that's just me, but I think they do. But it's going to be nice anyway, I presume, I'm hoping. So let's stop guessing and let's investigate what it is. This is a 500ml bottle. It is 4.8%, as I just mentioned. It is a Pilsner. No brew sheet, unfortunately, but as the name would suggest, this contains noble hops, and I'm presuming that it contains some of the Hallertau hops that are prevalent in Bavaria. Doesn't make any mention of the malt that's in here. There's a lot of stuff on the back. It conforms to the Reinheitsgebot, which really doesn't mean a thing. That again is pure marketing. So yeah, that's it basically. That's all you're going to get. Let's get it open. Let's see what's going on. Right, now this lot, I mentioned before that they bought a stake in the Bayreuth Action Brewery, I should say Action Brewery, twat, Actian Brewery, which is 100 metres across the way from them. And Feltins also bought out a stake in this Maisels Brewery as well, but it was bought back by them, but they still do collaborate on distribution now, so that's quite a good thing. Here's the cap. If you can get the fucking autofocus to work, there it is. Now, if you're not aware, Maisels are really well renowned for their wheat beer. I do like what they do when it comes to wheat beer. It's a really nice wheat beer, and if you see it available, get some, because you won't be disappointed. It is a really good wheat beer. I've seen it in pubs in London. There's a pub in Liverpool Street, can't remember the name of it now, but it's just around the corner from the station, and they had bottles of this, not this stuff, the Maisels Weiss, and I think I drank every one in the fridge, and there was about 5 or 6. So yeah, that was a bumper day for them. Look at the head on that, it's got really big bubbles. Not sure why that is, but they're not uniform either. On the nose, bready. A lot of that sulphur that you get from certain Bavarian beers, I perceive that as a mix between sulphur and lemon. And that's about it really. Not much of the hop aroma coming from this at all. I'd expect there to be more herbal and grassy notes, especially with a noble hop, but that ain't the case. By the way, I mentioned Feltins before. If you ever get a chance to get some of that, get it. It is absolutely amazing stuff. I heard in Germany that it's a really cheap beer and it's a good fridge filler, and I love it. I found that when I went up to York, there's a bar called Valhalla Bar, which is like a Viking themed bar, but opposite there's like a World Beer House it's called, and they do Feltins on tap. Oh my fucking good God, it was absolute heaven. But there you go. I don't know what they're barking at. Probably someone had the tenacity to walk past the fucking window. Let's get this down the hatch. Zum Wohl, as they say in Germany. Oh, now that's a Pilsner. Yeah. Oh yes, they have got that spot on. Lovely bitter finish on the back end. There's your noble hops. Strange though, it doesn't really. You don't really get that on the aroma, but it's definitely there on the flavour, and that's what counts. To be honest, I know I do make a big thing about aromas and stuff, but it's a good indicator of what the beer's going to taste like, and it does contribute to the flavour as well. Let's dive in again. Oh, I love it. Oh, that's superb. It's got that bitter finish that I love on a Pilsner. Quite dry, bitter, grassy. If you can imagine biting into a load of green grass. It's that kind of bitterness. Not astringent at all. You can tell it's coming from them hops. And if you've tried Pilsner Urquell, I mean, that is, to me, the definitive Pilsner. I know it's brewed in large numbers, but you do get that bitterness on the arse end. That's what you should be looking at. That's Percy. He smelt the beer. The finish on this is very nice indeed. And there he is. You smell the beer, mate? Hey? Did you smell the beer? Look, he's sitting down now because he thinks he's going to get some. You ain't getting none of this, mate. But this is really nice. I'll tell you what, let me lift him up. Come on. It's no good wagging your tail. You ain't getting none, mate. Now, Percy, get off you. What do you think of this? Get off, you're not getting none. He would. He definitely would. This has got all the characteristics. You're right there. This has got all the characteristics of a decent German Pilsner. But that lovely finish that you get, and as I was saying about the Pilsner Urquell, if you recognise that bitterness from the Pilsner Urquell, that is what a good Pilsner should taste like. It should have some of that hop bitterness on the finish. Yeah, malt on the palate, but the finish is all about the hops. And that's what this has got. Heads dissipated, which, you know, I can forgive that. Oh, it's really good. It's lovely. The thing is with this, some people may get put off by that bitter finish because they think they're drinking a lager or a Helles or something like that. And I've seen that before with people who've drank the Pilsner Urquell. They say, oh, it's a bit too bitter. But that is what the characteristic of a Pilsner is. It's that big, bitter, hoppy finish. And this is superb. It's got that, and they do it really well. What do you reckon, Perce? Not interested. Now he knows he's not going to get any. Oh, I'm really liking that. And it's so drinkable as well. The mouthfeel is quite light. Not much body to it, but it's super refreshing. What I will say, if you're going to be eating stuff with this, I wouldn't be eating curries or that kind of thing, you know, extra hot curries and stuff like that. I always say with them, and the food pairings that they say, I mean, I don't really go in for this much, to be honest, but they say with IPAs, you know, you should be eating spicy food, or you can be eating spicy food or curries with it. I wouldn't recommend that. You want a sweet beer. And that's why Gebr, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Gebr, but if I have a curry, I'll have a Gebr because it's not as gassy, for one, but also there's more sweetness to it than there is bitterness. And, you know, if you're eating spicy foods, you don't really want more bitterness going on. You want a bit of a sort of a leveler, if you like. So I'd avoid eating, you know, really hot, spicy dishes with a Pilsner. A good Pilsner like this. Oh, it's really good. I'm really surprised with it. And do you know what? If you're a fat bastard, you can drink this because the calories are reduced. You ain't got as much sugar content in it. Again, that's probably why you've got the bitter finish on it and the hop finish is coming through on this. But it's really good. Did I mention that? So, what is the verdict on Maisels Edelhopfen Diet Pils? or extra. They're calling it extra premium Pils. It's classed as a diet Pils. They've called it a premium Pilsner. Either way, it's a quality Pilsner. And that's one of the best German Pilsners I've tasted in a while. I'm really impressed with that. But them Maisels, or Maisels, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, they are really good at what they do. If the wheat beer is anything to go by it, then they're really good. Now, I know that they're from Bavaria and the competition is big down there, so you have to be good. But these definitely are a worthy brewer. Percy, what the hell are you doing? He's a little weirdo, that dog. You had bad gas last night, didn't you, mate? You were stripping wallpapers with your Harris. This, for me, is... I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Because it does everything that a Pilsner should do, with the added bonus of less calories. So, you know, it's all good. This is the equivalent to a 3-hour workout if you drink that. Probably. I'm not really a doctor. But it's good, and I definitely recommend it. It's not that expensive. I think it's under £3. So, fill your boots. And if you like Pilsner, if you like that bitter finish, and if you like Pilsner Urquell, you're going to love this, because it's great. 10 out of 10, recommended. And remember, beer is working class champagne.